do not make any sense. And that's why they're losing even Democrats. They're desperately searching, like, should I vote for Biden? Should I vote for Elizabeth Warren? Should I vote for Sanders? I mean, they're like panicking right now. Today, when they have to vote, they don't know who to vote for because none of them are giving them clear answers. If you have a clear answer, you know what you want to vote for. And so I see this continuing now for us in Virginia's 8th district, 11th district, 10th district. One good thing is that this can help us if we capitalize on it. Not because we want to have power, but because we want to be the positive change agents. We want to actually help the people. And that's why I'm running, and that's why Manga's running. And so for me, healthcare is the primary issue right now. I think the most important first step is to repeal Obamacare and then replace it. And we have to have a system in place to do that. I hope that everybody will be on board to do that because we need to solve this problem. Medicare for all is definitely not the solution. We have to find a solution that actually works in the long run. And so that's my primary issue. Maybe some of you have questions about healthcare issues. If not, I'll move on to my second topic, which is education. So my second topic is education. I care about education. I'm a licensed teacher in Virginia public schools. I'm licensed. I've taught at Petersburg Public Schools, which is considered the lowest performing public school in Virginia. I've taught at Greensfield County Public Schools, which is a struggling school system as well, in an unaccredited school. I've taught at Arlington and Wakefield High School. I've taught in District of Columbia Public Schools, in a school that's 100% African American. So I speak as a teacher. I'm currently the co-chair of Virginia Council of Teachers of Mathematics, and we have our annual conference at Virginia Commonwealth University in March. And we try to provide better education, math education, STEM education from pre-K to college graduates doing PhD. And one thing that we agreed on is that math education, STEM education is degenerating in Virginia and nationally. It's a crisis in education that we have to solve. As a nation, we are 27th in the world in math education. And what does this mean in concrete terms, right? We have higher crime rates among teenagers, young adults. A lot of mass shootings were carried out by young adults in their 20s and 30s who went through the public school system. Part of which is that the education system doesn't work on academic levels to provide them with the tools to succeed. Tools have the jobs that can benefit them and their families in the future. And the whole system is based on individual American citizens being able to be productive citizens using their education. There's a problem with education on a curriculum level, and there's a problem with education in terms of what kind of citizen or American the school is interested in producing. Do we want Americans who work productive jobs, who live a moral life and contribute to society and help others? Or do we want to create an America where people are doping and drugged out, pursuing their own pleasures instead of the good of the others, the common good? Well, the Democratic Party, they're interested in what? Let's unpack this. They want to decriminalize everything. This is what the Democratic Party wants. They said, we want to decriminalize marijuana. We want our students to grow up to be people who are high on dope. We know what happened to opium in China. It destroyed China. And so legalizing marijuana is a way to destruction, socially, societally, communally. And Democrats, most of them, and you can ask people during the Democrat debate on Tuesday, they want to legalize Marijuana is a gateway drug to cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and we have this opium crisis. Decriminalizing the gateway drugs is not the way to help the opium crisis that is gripping Virginia, West Virginia, rest of America. But education, because teachers are not interested in producing morally upright and productive Americans, and educational systems are not, many of them, they're pushing for legalization of marijuana. They're pushing for, what? Get you out of prison. Oh, let's not put you in prison if you rob people, right? They want to decriminalize a lot of things. They want to bring people out of prisons fast. They call it prison reform, but it's not really prison reform. It's just let's give prisoners get out of jail free card. That's what their prison reform is. 95% of Democrats, what they're proposing in terms of prison reform is giving criminals get out of jail free cards. Just giving them carte blanche to crime. And that's crime on you and your families. And many educators support candidates who want to decriminalize and have prison reform, which 85 to 95% means basically giving you a get out of jail free card, right? So you're going to have more criminals running around thinking that they can continue to commit crimes. And that's what's happening in America. That's what's happening in Virginia, right? Democrats who control the state assembly, they want to decriminalize everything. They want to legalize marijuana. How is this going to help education and educators? So there's a serious problem. So second issue I want to address is these problems that face us and our children. Do you want your children, your friends' children, to die of heroin overdose or opium overdose because they entered through gateway drug of marijuana, which is legalized? Legalizing marijuana means people will be doing it every day. And they're going to get bored with marijuana, they want to go into something a little bit more, zesty. That's the kind of system you're going to be creating. Faster track to cocaine, faster track to methamphetamines, faster track to heroin. Not just faster, it'll be more widespread, because once it becomes legal, everybody will be doing it. Because they think, oh, it's legal, it's okay. So we're having a crisis in education. The public school system should be designed to produce productive Americans who contribute to society, contribute to betterment of lives of other people, contribute to having happy lives for themselves, which includes not being doped out, forming nice families, having kids, and working, and contributing to the economy, doing meaningful things in society. That's what we should be looking for and wanting in America. So that's the direction that I'm going to take education in Virginia's 8th District and nationally, because we need better public schools. Public schools need to be focused on providing better curriculum, number one. Number two, better ethical system. Say no to drugs, for example. Not, let's make marijuana legal. Do you want to kind of run with pro-legalization of marijuana politicians as your community project for credit for Fairfax High School? No, that's not what we want. We want high school students to be working toward doing things that's going to help people, not, I want to gratify my pleasures, so I'm going to be doing more dope. I want more people to dope, so let's work toward that. That is creating a selfish society that is not going to end well. And moralistic value system. We need to go back to America where we're emphasizing traditional family. Family is the smallest unit, social unit, individual, and then it's the family. Now, right now, Democrats are interested in breaking down the traditional family. They want to say, family is not that important. Forming a nice traditional family is not important. And so they push agenda items that go against them. And that's why society is breaking down. People are not able to form families, and they're becoming dysfunctional individuals with mental health problems because they're being confused in the public schools. They're not being taught family planning in a way that's going to help every American achieve happiness. There's too much confusion in the public school system about how to form a happy community, how to form a happy family. There's just confusion. And so children are being confused, and the public school system is producing mass murderers, criminals, drug addicts, because our public school system is in serious need of reform. Democrats do not want to reform it. They just want to give all the bad things to everyone. Yeah, do drugs. Yeah, legalize marijuana. Oh, it doesn't matter if you have a nice family in the future. Do what you want. Be what you want. You don't have to have a plan. And so there are people waking up at age 40 or 50 who have been confused in their high school, public school system. They're like, oh, I can't believe it. I would have been so much happier if I formed a nice family, had kids, and had a more stable life. Because they weren't given that option in the public school system. They weren't taught that it's a good option. And so we need to go back to ABC's foundation in the educational system and to encourage a kind of guidance that will help students come to a more direction-oriented life. I speak for some countries in Asia, America used to be like this, where the school system kind of teaches you how to contribute to building of community, building of family. And that still happens in India, America, maybe we'll talk about it, Korea, and these societies are progressing. There aren't mass shootings in these societies. And school system contributes to betterment of individual, reduction of crime. And that's why we have to go back to where America used to be, where the school system was providing direction, moral guidance, and arming children for success. So that is another issue that has been a very important issue for me. And that's my second most important issue, education. Does someone have any questions on education? Okay, so if not, I can move on to my next topic. Third issue that is very important to me is U.S. veterans. I think U.S. veterans, they get a bad rap because U.S. veterans, they serve our country, they risk their life. Many of them lose their limb, in battle-like situations with improvised explosive devices and by enemy fire. And they come home, and then they're faced with problems where they are not given the opportunities that they could have, and they are not provided with the support system. So what are 3 problems facing veterans? Because obviously I'm running to help veterans, I have to know what the problems are, and I have to know how to solve them. So I'm going to explain to you what the 3 major problems with veterans are. One major problem of veterans is that they do not have the support system to be viable in the workplace. So they come home, they have been part of a military culture, and they're not able to adjust back into American life. And there are 3 reasons for this. One is there isn't a support for forming a family. Because if a soldier is a single soldier who comes home, if that person marries a woman and have children, it becomes a stabilizing element that can help help the individual be socially grounded. So kind of encouraging a forming of a traditional family for soldiers to come home, to get married and settle down and have children, becomes a form of social network support structure that can help the soldiers. Right? And obviously this kind of ties in with our American societal problem of family breakdown. But we need to work at a Veterans Affairs level of providing guidance and family counseling so that soldiers who come home can form families and then start having children and kind of become part of the society. Marriage is an important way to connect to society. And this will help with mental health. Right, so we need to implement that program. Secondly, we need to provide veterans with job support and legislation that will support them. Meaning, there are a lot of jobs in America which are not going to fill. For example, in the field of nursing where I am, they said there will be a nurse shortage of 200,000. Now, any soldier can fill these positions with training, guidance and training and support. And that goes for all American citizens who want a job. With guidance and support, all these 200,000 jobs can be filled by American citizens. I'm Korean, and I like having people from other countries come and fill jobs, but I don't like it at the expense of American citizens. If there are 200,000 jobs out here, and there are 200,000 veterans who don't have jobs, we could train these veterans to fill these 200,000 healthcare jobs. We don't have to bring them from another country. They cost more for us as a country to bring people from other countries. And they may come here and fill those 200,000 jobs, but what happens to 200,000 US veterans who are underemployed or unemployed? How are we going to solve that problem? So I want to become a congressman to try to solve problems by matching demand with the need and supply. That is not being efficiently done right now. Democrats are not interested in doing that, because Democrats are interested in just opening our borders and letting all the illegals come in. And what are these illegals going to do? They're going to starve to death? No, they have to take jobs. Whose jobs are going to take? Jobs that U.S. veterans can get. U.S. veterans can do any kind of job that an illegal immigrant can do and survive. So unemployment, underemployment, and homelessness due to economic factors among U.S. veterans have to be directly tied to the immigration policies, pro-illegal refugee programs of the Democratic Party. If there are people who are being persecuted, yes, let's help them, protect them, and give them asylum. But there are people who are just like, oh, I think I can make more money in America, so let's just walk across the border in Mexico and take jobs away from veterans. We don't care about the veterans. There are people like that. They're not going to starve if they remain in their country. They don't have to illegally walk over an open border, take jobs away from veterans. That's just not fair for veterans who risk their lives to serve our country. I support immigration, but everything has to be done legally. They have to come legally to our country, and then they have to be documented legally, and then they have to follow the process that all the immigrants in America have followed. They can't just walk in and take jobs away from U.S. veterans. I understand that they need to take jobs away from U.S. veterans because they need to eat too. They need to survive. But U.S. veterans need jobs. And we have a lot of U.S. veterans becoming homeless because of all these illegal immigrants just marching into our country without papers or process, disrespecting our law, disrespecting our order and our security. And it's a problem. And the Democrats and Don Beyer wants this to continue. We have like 1 million illegal immigrants coming in from the southern border every year. It's a crisis. It's creating a crisis for our veterans. I want to help veterans. So helping veterans is, first step is to make sure that illegal immigration stops. Because they all need jobs. They will take jobs away from veterans. Every day I drive to Georgetown, I see a homeless U.S. Marine with a placard that says, I'm a Marine, I'm homeless, help me. And he has no physical problem. He has no amputation. He just can't get a job. Maybe he just has a high school education. He served in the Marines for many years. he's come out and he doesn't have many skills. Now, I guarantee you, if we did not have 10 million illegals in America filling jobs in every city, he would be employed in some job. But he goes to a job, manual labor job. Who is working in that $10 or $15 an hour manual labor job? Some illegal guy without papers. Because the boss is a Democrat or a Republican who doesn't respect the law, and hires illegals. So how do we solve poverty in America? How do we solve the problem of veteran